Hey everyone, this is Solimer, and this video today is going to be a series of videos of us opening packs and showing some of the decks that we got over the course of several days. So, hope you guys enjoy the video and enjoy seeing the decks. Thanks. So I get this zoomed in there best I can. Okay, there we go. So this one has a Mantis and Krogaius. It has a Glowhive Siren, Spring Dryad, and you can see the rest of the cards there. So this one was just interesting. Also, the name of the deck was pretty amusing. And it is Oros. Oops, let me flip that over. And there's the Forgeborn. Dark Forge Drain on cycle 4. You can get it earlier with the Mantis, if that's the route you choose to go. You just go here through the cards quickly. Lord Basher, of course, everyone's favorite, Krogaius, Glowhive Siren, Lead the Charge, Lycian Rain, Might of the Herd, as the Raptor can't stay in a Pack Mantis, so that can also get some big attack on it and be a threat in addition to it already being a great card. So that's a really good version of Mantis, in my opinion. Of course, Spring Dryad and the Venerable Raptor. So that was one of the spicy decks. We'll continue with the Utera theme here. So unless I drop all the cards and then I have to play 31 card pickup. So we have this one, if I can get that there. I've got these all scanned in, but still like to cover up the QR code anyway. So this one here has Betrayer, Fit of Rage, has a Forge Seal and Mantis in the deck. Has a Batterhide, Leyline Vermin. So it has a lot of cards to remove text from your opponent's cards, which can be really nice. There's no Botanimate in this deck, unfortunately. But there are some other good cards, a Combat Slayer, the Decayosaur. You have a Bartok in here. So it looks like an interesting deck anyway. I thought it was interesting. And Forge Seal Mantis is always halfway decent. It is a Nova, though. If I'd quit hitting the stand there, but there's the Nova. And then I'll get to the level 3 version of the cards real quick. Armored Druid. Camouflaged Decayosaur. Combat Slayer. Feral Instinct. Of course, the Betrayer, Fit of Rage. Really like that card. Forge Seal. Leyline Vermin. Shifting Batterhide. Oops. Bartok. And Stampeding Mantis. So, while I'm not big on its Forgeborn being Nova and the abilities Nova typically has, you could pair this with, you know, a perfect Circe deck, and that can be pretty powerful with the Mantis and Forge Seal. You've got, you know, Necrium has a lot of removal in itself, so having the Vermin and Batterhide together can really wreak havoc on your opponent's cards. You can get rid of Rumble Sparks this way. You can get rid of Zymuses this way. A lot of instances where those abilities can be golden. And I feel like if you watch some of the Worlds matches that we put up a few months ago now, there'll be instances where you'll see the Batterhide or Leyline Vermins really stand out in matches. I can't tell you offhand exactly which matches, but watch them all, in my opinion, and you'll find it eventually. But all right, here we go with the third Utera deck that I think's interesting. Not saying these are going to be world breakers, don't get me wrong. I feel like so far, as many as we've opened, we've gotten a low amount of spicy decks. So it is what it is. But this one's interesting to me because it's double Kindred and has a Spring Dryad, which is really cool. I don't know if I have any double Kindred decks, but I definitely have some Kindred and Spring Dryad decks, and they're a lot of fun. This deck also has a Batterhide. It has a Camouflage Bear, so it has stealth. You have the Stegodon for life gain, Spring Dryad for life gain, Nap Time for life gain. You have Botanimate for life gain. So really, all of the cards in this deck really seem like they work well. At least in my opinion. There's not really any super bad cards. Here's the Forgeborn. It is a Nova as well. It does have Nova's Touch on cycle 4. But this deck doesn't have a Mantis, so now I can get to use it any earlier. We'll get to the level 3 cards here. So we have the Armored Batterhide. If I can get to focus. There it goes. So Batterhide just in itself is a good card. Armored really makes it nice, harder to kill. Arrogant Ranger. So if you did happen to get a full board or whatnot, this card can really get a nice boost when you play it. At worst, it's not a bad body. It's not a horrible one anyway. Botanimate, of course. Nice removal card. You have your Stealthy Big Bear, which is really nice. And then one of our Kindreds, we have Kindred Featherfang. You probably won't, in an ideal world, you're not going to get to take advantage of its card text with the decreased health, giving it attack. But maybe when you initially play it, if you don't get any health gain right off the bat, there's an opportunity for that there, and then start getting the health gain going. But Kindred Slayer, nice Kindred, in my opinion. Nap Time, of course. It's a very nice card. Can definitely win matches for you if you're getting to cycle 4 and coming down to the wire with just health and stuff to stop your opponent from getting damage through to you. And then Savage Oath. Of course, the Spring Dryad. And the Stegodon. So lots of life gain opportunities in this deck. Double Kindred. I really like what it has, and I'm really tempted to see what I can come up with it. I do have a Betrayer Spring Dryad, so that's a possibility. Double Spring Dryad with the double Kindred. That'd be kind of fun, maybe. But I'm sure there's lots of different ways to go about that. Obviously, you could go with Shamblers, Dark Heart Sorcerers, you know, other things that give you lots of health gain. But that'll be something I will get to dig into at some point once I get around to deck building again. All right, our next deck here is Tempest, and this one has a Disintegrating Omni. I'm not sure how I feel about this deck, other than it has an Omni, which is cool. It's our, so far, only legendary that we've gotten out of these packs that we've opened so far, and we're not through them all yet. But, yeah, not much to say about the deck. I'm not really sure how good it would be, but it is an Omni deck, so it makes the cut for me. We'll go through its cards here. So, of course, we have Blizzard Shaman, destroying all things on the board, basically. Chant of Umbrook. So that's nice if you have a dinosaur in play. Give your creatures breakthrough, plus you're giving them that 7 attack. That's huge. Combat Worm. Disintegrate, of course, for the Disintegrating Omni. Which, you know, in itself, if they don't get rid of it, it can deal quite a bit of damage to an opponent, especially once you get to the level 2 and 3 version of it. It can definitely win you matches. But This deck doesn't look overly aggressive like through spells or anything like with a Flame Jet or things of that nature, but it definitely looks like it's going to try and deal a lot of damage through creatures and breakthrough potentially. And the Invoker here gives your creatures aggressive and more attack. Raging Colossus, he's aggressive, so that can be a nice drop when you're off Forge. Thunder Stomper, of course, if you find a creature of yours to damage and boost him up quite a bit. Undeady, I do not like this card, but if you can take advantage of its free ability, then it's a worthwhile card. But in my opinion, it gets really hard at level 3 to be able to get on the board. You not only have to have 3 creatures on the board, they also have to have decreased health. So, and then the Windspark Elemental, another aggressive creature with a great ability when it damages a player, do that much to the enemy, to an enemy creature. So that's an interesting deck. We have other Disintegrating Omni decks. I don't know that I'll be digging in right away to make that one, but it's definitely on the list. So we have a Necrium deck here. This one is a double Shamble deck, and the rest of it is just kind of blah. Circe's Call is nice, especially if you're going up against a set 3 type deck. They play a lot of Exalts and spell type cards, typically. Oh, I didn't think I showed you the Sunder Forgeborn on the other card. I forgot about that. My bad. So here's Circe, Death Touch, Army Commander, and then Soul Siphon. So, not too bad. And then, level 3 version of the cards, Circe's Call. That can be a really strong play against the right opponent. Cutthroat Geist. Not a great body, but it does have Cutthroat, so you're able to sacrifice or destroy a creature, destroy another creature. It does give you an option for removal. You know, it can be handy. Dreadbolt, rather, always a great spell to have leveled up. Grave Pact, again, destroying a creature to give somebody -13/-13. Definitely has its uses. The Hematophagic Spirit. So obviously you have to play it in an open lane. And you can destroy another of your creatures to gain health if you need to. It's an ability I do not use a whole lot or often. But and I don't know if I'm saying this right, I always say Osieri, but I don't know how to say that. The mech here. Once destroyed, play a card from your discard pile for free. So it has value, you know, leveling up cards as you go, and then you get to play one for free after the cycle 3 or level 3 one dies. Raging Walker, so he's aggressive and gives -/. Of course, Shambling Drake's nice, can move around. Shambling Reaper's nice, because if he shambles, he's giving himself plus attack, so that's really nice. And then a Venerable Demon, so it's not super bad or anything. It's not it's spicy enough. It's definitely something we could look at using to build with something, pairing with another deck. You know, none of these decks. The Double Kindred one's real intriguing to me. That's probably the most intriguing of them all so far. But we have an Oloyan. So if I've said it before, I've probably said it 1,000 times. I love Apocamancer, Drix, Rallying decks. This one's missing a Drix, but it has Apocamancer and Rallying. Has a charge-plated Assassin, which is kind of cool. It has Cyprian Experimentation, Energy Prison, Energy Surge, Gauntlets of Solgrim for spells. You see it's got the Spirit Forge Sentinel, Steadfast Drone, and Taunting War Charger. So it's certainly an interesting deck. Here's the Forgeborn Fort, Ironbeard. Some people like Ironbeard, some people don't. Of course, we have our level 3 Apocamancer. Charge-plated Assassin's really nice. 27 attack stealth. Cypian Experimentation. Energy Prison. Energy Surge. Gauntlets of Solgrim. Rallying Scavenger. Spiritforge Sentinel. Steadfast Drone. And the Taunting War Charger. So I feel like all the cards have some utility. Don't know that anything's game breaking. The Apocamancer and Charge-Plated Assassin are definitely probably the two biggest, and the Rallying Scavenger are the three cards you're going to be trying to level up and utilize to make this deck go. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of minion generation or gizmo generation to be able to assist with the replacement, but you can use other decks, other halves to get that type of ability. You know, Utera has a lot of minion creation cards, so you can definitely find a pair if that's what is needed for the deck to go get to work. And so, bring this one into the screen there. It's Utera. This one I thought might be interesting. It's got double soothing, has a Swamp Moss Lurker, has Glowhive Siren, and then it has Botanimate. All of that is life gain. The Lurker's not, but he's free play with the life gain if you're above the health, right? Refreshing Ranger can add a big boost to health as well. And then, of course, you have a Magnivorious Bear and the Sharp-Plate Delver. Both of those can be very dangerous creatures. And then Toxic Spores and Vine Lash have great utility. So, all in all, I like all 10 cards in this deck and how they synergize. So this deck, to me, was intriguing. I don't have a really good, like, world-class Swamp Moss Lurker deck. I don't know if this one would be or not, but we might make something with it and try it out and see how it works out. The Oros, Dark Forge Drain on the 4th cycle with no Mantis, so, but, you know, we could see what we can pair it with, maybe find a different Forgeborn to go with from a different faction. The Shapeshift isn't bad, and the Growth Aura gives you more life, which also helps with the Swamp Moss free play. So we'll go through the cards real quick. So, of course, Botanimate, Glowhive Siren, the Magnivorious Bear we talked about. He can get big quick. Refreshing Ranger. That's a lot of health there, 15 health, and one just for replacing something. Sharp-Plate Delver, of course. Soothing Polymorpher. So it's got double utility, really, the health gain and that. The Soothing Ravager will proc himself every time. That's really nice. Of course, Swamp Moss Lurker. The hope is that you're going to have enough health to make him huge. Toxic Spores, and of course Vine Lash. So that deck was one we thought was intriguing. I like it. Potentially, you know, I'll have to play it and test it out. So it's definitely on the list. This next one is Aloyan, and my son really liked this one, so I put it out there because he's probably going to have me make it into a deck. As you can see, it's got double charge-plated, and one of them is a charge-plated Specimen. He loves the Specimen card, even though I feel like it's not the greatest. It's hard to make great use out of. And then it does have a Palladium Pulse Mage, which is nice. Only one spell, Heavy Artillery. Not a bad spell, but only one spell. So you have a lot of creatures. And I'm not big on all of the creatures. I like the Battle Droid. The Combat Drone, of course. The Prophet might be okay, but not big on the creatures for the most part. So it's a matter of seeing what else can the deck do. So we have Iron Beard here, and it's okay. I like that it has knockback. Intimidate can be nice. This deck's really looking, in my opinion, just based on what it has in it. I'm looking at like specimens, your game win condition. So knockback's really nice with that, and I was thinking you could pair this with Utera potentially, with Nap Time. But here's the Armored Prophet. Medium-sized body with good armor. There's the Charge-Plated Specimen, and as you can see, if you took no damage, he gets to deal 34 damage to a creature or player. And you're going cycle 3, cycle 4 here. That can be an instant win if that happens. Of course, Charge-Plated Technohawk. I like the Technohawk. One, he's got armor, and he's got mobility. So he's a big body that can move. That's really powerful. Combat Drone, of course. Stealth, and has a great ability tied to him. Heavy Artillery. I like this spell. It's the only spell in the deck, unfortunately, but even typically this spell is really nice. It can really swing a game when you reduce their attack and increase yours if you have something getting through, or if you need to kill something off. It just has such good utility. And then, of course, Orion Battle Droid. Really big armor, no health, but as long as you avoid the negative abilities, it can cause some problems for an opponent. And then the Pulse Mage. Love the Pulse Mage, hate the Pulse Mage. It's one of those cards, you love to have it, hate to play against it. It can be really frustrating. And when I first started playing SolForge Fusion, this was one of the cards in a deck that I had, and I thought this guy was going to be awesome, and I've just always been disappointed with him. I know he's got mobility, he can grow pretty quick, but it takes a really specific setup to make him be super dangerous, in my opinion. And just typically the setup, there's so many other things you can do in the game better than worry about him. He's not a game changer, in my opinion. I don't like him. Despite I thought he'd be awesome when I first started playing. The Salvage Scavenger. Not a bad card. I like that it leaves the minions after it dies. And then the Venerable Tactician. So, oops, I'm a little off screen there. But, I don't know, my son liked it, so I said I would put it aside, and we'll end up making something with it for him. And we'll see how it goes. No promises that it'll be great, but, you know. And then this one also, my son wanted pulled to the side, and you'll instantly know why. It's a Loyan. And we have Charge-Plated Specimen again. But this one has a Drix. So no double Charge-Plated, but it does have a Drix. And he likes Drix as a card. Although I feel, well, it don't matter what I feel. So he wanted this pulled to the side as well. So we'll probably make multiple Charge-Plated Specimen decks for him here. And yeah, so flip over for the Forgeborn, and you can see here Repurpose. That can be good. Level 3 has Inspire. Again, if you pair it up with the right deck, that can be great. And then Tinker at level 4, that can be a really nice play late in the match, especially when, again, your win condition is a Charge-Plated Specimen. So yeah, it's not bad. We have the adaptive Technohawk. Armor, mobility, low stats though, but you can give it plus 10 attack or plus 10 health, depending on when you play him. SolForge Oracle. This is love this card. I think it's such a well balanced card. Really like this card in Omolian. Of course, we have the Charge Plate Specimen once again. Your 34 damage to face could be the win. So you've got to make sure you push that damage through. Drix can be so good, especially helping with the minion generation and replacement power-ups and all that. Such a good card. Epoch Hawk. I don't know how much he'll work in this deck. I guess he could have some uses. He can swap around with creatures. So that could prove useful, especially when you're trying to play with the Specimen as your primary way of damaging the opponent. Gauntlets of Solgrim. So a little bit of damage here, plus you can potentially save a creature, prevent some extra damage, help with procs for the Specimen. Protective Justicar is such a beastly defender, has mobility, doesn't have as much health as you probably like in a level 3 card, but he can definitely take out a lot of anything small that's coming across from your opponent, and he can move around and deal with that stuff and last a while. Reinforced Operator, so scientists now are going to start leaving behind minions. That's great. Also, when he's destroyed, gives health to one of your creatures. That can be, again, really big help. Salvage Scavenger, leaving behind minions. That's awesome. And Warmonger mod, once you get past that level 1 version of the card, it's a really good card to have and play. And so I like this deck probably better than the other Specimen deck, but I'll probably make both of them for my son, and then he'll play them, and when he figures out which one is good or how to use them, he'll come beat on me with them. So first one here is a Nova Elementalist deck. I don't think it's that good based on all the cards there, but I'll see. It's a Nova deck, so who knows. Here is the Forgeborn. Got Gale Surge, which could be nice. Frost Blast, and some of the Swarm. We of course have the Rumblespark Energy, Rumblespark Embodiment, and then here's the other level 3 cards. Combat Hawk Rider. It's a Yeti. Fleet Stonefist. This is an elemental. One of the better cards for this deck. Furious Colossus. It's a warrior. We have Mystical Teacher. Could be a good card for this deck. Letting you get additional elementals out. Of course, Nova Elementalist, which is a mage, which works with the teacher. Rolling Shardback. While a half-decent card, it's a dinosaur. It's not elemental. Solemn Smash Fist. This is a warrior, but a good body. Spirit Golem Conclave. This is the lone spell in the deck. Another downside. It's not a bad card, but just only one spell besides the Rumblespark. Thundersoar, a dinosaur, but a very good one. And then Uranti Heartseeker, it's a Yeti, but can give breakthrough, which could help. Of course, by that stage in the game, hopefully your Rumble Spark's flipped and already built up and whatnot. So, but like I said, it's a Rumble Spark deck. And then this deck here, we got a legendary Steel Scale Dragon. As far as the rest of the deck, it's just kind of meh. I don't feel like the Steel Scale Dragon decks are particularly great by any means. But, you know, to each their own. Here's the Forgeborn. Enhance, Inspire, and Optimize. I like those abilities. I like Steel Rosetta's abilities, by and large. Okay, we have Adaptive Drone. Definitely, the drone's always a fun card if you can get it out there and working. Arrogant Sculptor. If you get some replacement stuff going, get some free spells. Energy Prison. Energy Surge. Stabilizing Engineer. Oops. Steel Scale Dragon. So those who are not familiar with it, it's got that activate. If you have a scientist, dinosaur, dragon, it gets those buffs if they're adjacent to it, depending on what up to 2 creatures are adjacent to it. It allows for a lot of different synergies, depending on what your deck has and what you want to pair it with. In that regard, it's really nice because it's flexible in that regard. Tech upgrade. Venerable Allomancer. So we got Vid here. And War Machine. So just those 2 decks are both just interesting. I'm probably not going to build anything with either of them. I don't think the Rumble Spark's particularly good, and I don't feel the Steel Scale Dragon is good enough to, at least the decks I have with one in it, they haven't been good enough to really build the deck around. It's not a powerful enough card, perhaps. However, this card might be Freezing Omni. So it comes with Ice Storm automatically. And then we'll go through all the other cards that are there. I think it's a half decent deck. It's something I'm definitely going to look into potentially making. Here's the Forgeborn, which I do like for it. If you don't know what Freezing Omni is or does, I'll show you, but just so you can reference it to the Korok here, it activates and deals damage to all enemy creatures. So the Demolish is, as long as you get the Freezing Omni out, can be easily used. And at a time, preferably when you want. So, not bad Forgeborn abilities. So we have Arrogant Warhound. So if you replace something, it's going to blast something off the board. And it's got a big attack, but low health. We have Conflagrate. That could be a useful card, especially with the Freezing Omni. You can spread damage around. The Freezing Omni does AoE damage, so you could potentially wipe some things off the board. We have Everflame Aura. I like this because it has a Thundersword in the deck. Here's Freezing Omni. Can be such a good card. The matching Ice Storm that it comes with, which is another card that deals multiple lanes of damage. 3 lanes for this one. Lightning Spark. We have Piercing Glider. So that ignores armor. If it's unopposed when you play it, it's going to come out pretty big with decent health. And and it can definitely handle creatures with armor. It's a good card to remove those types of cards. Thundersword, I mentioned before. Really like this card. Windspark Elemental, a great off-forge card to play when there's open lanes. But just, it's not a bad card in general to play. It's a threat they need to respond to when you do play it, even if you're on Forge. And then we have Yeti Warcaller. So if things move, you can deal some extra damage. Not a bad card. So that deck, I do like. I think it's half decent. I don't, I'll have to put it. I haven't made a Freezing Omni deck. I don't have that many of them. So it's something I'll definitely have to look into making and testing out and see how that goes. And then lastly today, this was the last interesting one we got. It has a Shambling Summoner, which I really like. And then a bunch of other cards we'll go through. But I think it has a pretty strong supporting cast, or at least an interesting supporting cast. Here is the Forgeborn. So we have Circe with the Army Commander at level 1, Death Touch level 2, and Life Drain level, well, 2, 3, and 4 rather. But it's not my favorite order of the Forgeborn abilities, but you can't always get the perfect Circe, right? So it has a Bone Scythe Reaver, and this card is definitely can be a good utility card. You can go out there and block something, also remove something, so kind of maybe a 2-for-1 play. Broodfang, if something's destroyed, this card can be very strong. You can drop it and then destroy something or reduce something, cause it to die. And this is also on the board, so if anything future dies before combat, again, you get to activate. So it's it can be a dangerous card. Dissing Siphon. So this works in conjunction with the Broodfang, because you can destroy one of your creatures to play something for free at each level. It also works very well with this card, Scourge Hydra. So if a creature is destroyed, one of your creatures, then you can destroy an enemy creature. So lots of if you destroy one of your creatures, you have lots of things you can do with that. And then we have the Shambling Summoner. I like it because it's Defender with Shambling, makes it harder to kill, has high health, and has an activate. When you play a spell, you can play, in this case, Zombie Brutes, but mindless zombie minions at the earlier levels. It gives you an additional body out there, or something you can sacrifice to have a creature destroyed. We have a Steadfast Moeba. It's just a decent-sized bodied creature. We have Stout Stitcher. So that's definitely something in this deck that can be utilized, is the Stitcher with those zombie minions. We have Varric's Embrace for a little bit of removal and health gain. So it's in my opinion, this is a good spell. And then we have a Zithian Dreadmaw, which has an activate, destroy one of your creatures, which pumps him up, but also gives you that ability to destroy a creature of your own for the other cards to proc. So you have another method to do that with. And lastly, you have Zarath's Will, which if you gain some life, can be played for free. So if you destroy one of your own creatures with the Shambler on the board, then you can play this for free, which also lets you play another minion from the Shambler, the Summoner. And it's a free play spell. So this deck has a lot of, in my opinion, doesn't have any bad cards. Really, the worst card, the most even the Moeba, despite it not having any abilities, it's a decent sized body. So, you know, its level 2 and 3 versions are pretty strong. Its level 2 is really strong. The level 1's kind of weak, but all these other cards kind of work. They synergize together. It's just a matter of if you can get them to go off and work in conjunction, finding a good pair for it. So that's a deck that'll definitely be, when I go to make some decks, it'll be one of the decks I look at, seeing if I can find a pair for it. So this one was interesting to me. It's got a Kindred Matriarch, Spring Dryad, a Glow Hive. It's got, I like the possibilities here. It's got a Reveler in it. You know, it needs a little bit more life gain probably for the Kindred to really go off, but it's got a lot of good utility cards with it. I just thought this deck was kind of interesting. We'll go through cards here in a second. So Nova is the Forgeborn. It's got Nova's Touch, Nova's Might, and Nova's Dominion. So not terrible. Then we have, here's the level 3 version of the card. So we have Dendrify. That can be useful. Glow Hive obviously is going to be key in this deck with the health gain. You got your Kindred Matriarch. So you can use this with the Reveler, potentially get them below 3 cards in hand. And maybe, maybe not. Depends on how it plays out. But also when you gain health, this thing grows. So that could be a double bonus if you can get that working. And then we have Relentless Wanderers, of course, for some minion generation. Savage Oath, pumping a creature. Warriors get a little boost. Here's the Reveler. So, free spell play. Of course, the Splicer. Get past that level 1 version of that, and it's a solid card. Spring Dryad to help with the Kindred, of course. It's a must with that combination there. Torgmai Guardian. So he can become a very big creature. And with your minion generation, some other stuff definitely has potential there. And then Toxic Spores. Very good, useful spell. So I thought the deck was somewhat interesting. You know, nothing game breaking, of course. And then we have a Necrium deck here with Darkheart Sorcerer and 6 spells. So I thought that was interesting. Not a bad spell pool. Creatures leave a little bit to be desired, but you know, you just find a pair that goes with that has the creatures that you need. But 6 spells is really nice with the Darkheart. Here's the Forgeborn. So Nyx Nekia, Army of the Damned, Dark Summoning, Soul Rip. I don't like lots of Nyx's abilities for the most part. So one of the creatures is Corrupt Spectre. So yes, it's corrupt, and that's a horrible modifier. However, it is a stealth creature, and if you can get a couple turns of this damage through, that could be big in any matchup. Of course, we have the Darkheart Sorcerer, the whole reason for the deck being shown here pretty much. Disian Siphon, the first spell here. Very good spell, very good card. Grave Pact. Could be good removal if you have extra bodies. So if you have some sort of deck that has either lots of creatures or lots of minion generation, that can be useful. Howl Zith, not my favorite spell, but if you have spirits, some spirit synergy going here, your spirits get a big boost, and you give somebody stealth, so pushing some extra damage through. Of course, Neck Revive can be useful for removal. Nom Nom. It's a great removal card, can be a 2-for-1. type of deal. Portal Shade, not the greatest creature, but is stealth, and it can be a utility card where you can destroy it to pump something else up that's getting through if this wasn't for some reason. So it has uses. It's not the worst card in the world. Stout Geist, probably your best creature in the deck, besides the Dark Heart, of course. And then Varric's Embrace, a lovely spell that is. So definitely a deck that can be made into something. Utilizing the Dark Heart there and the 6 spells, it's nice. Comes with pretty good spells there, in my opinion. No Dreadbolt, but it is what it is. Alright, and then lastly, this might be the first one I was looking for these. This might be the first one I saw out of all the packs we've opened, which has been a ton. We have some more coming tomorrow, but this is an all-common deck. I'm not going to say it's great or anything, but it's just all-common, which is pretty rare to see. I haven't seen any all-rare decks. We were close on one of them, but all-common, so that's pretty neat. I'll show you the cards just to show you the cards, seeing we're doing this. Nova, Nova's Dominion, Nova's Wrath, Nova's Touch. I'm not big on Nova, just like I'm not big on Nyx. But so we have Camouflage Druid, Druid's Chant, Hesperian Steelplate, Mystical Bear, got a lot of minion generation here, Pax Blessing, we got Pump, minion generation, Replacement, Shardplate Delver, Shroudthorn Splicer, Stampeding Bartok, Stout Wartusk, and Summoning Council. So you probably, with this deck, even though it's all common, it really doesn't seem that bad. It's got a lot of minion generation, it's got creature pump, creature replacement. Yeah, finding a good pair for it, I don't think that one would be too hard, actually. This was probably our best little pull of the whole week. We have 9 decks here, so some spicier than others, but alright. This first deck here, see Blight Witch, Darkheart Sorcerer. We have the Scourge Hydra, Spite Hydra in there. The Zithian Dreadmaw with a Dissian Siphon, Om Nom Nom, and Soul Reap for the spells. So this looks similar to another deck I showed earlier. But here's, you know what? Let me get the Forgeborn before I forget. Nekia. We have Dark Summoning, Raising Dead, and Army of the Damned. Again, not a huge fan of Nyx's abilities by and large, but they have their uses, certainly. And with the minion generation, you can use it for all the sacrifice stuff you have in here. So we have the Blight Witch, of course, free spells, which goes well with a Darkheart Sorcerer. Dissian Siphon is a spell, and you can destroy something to play something for free. Om Nom Nom, a good spell, can be a 2-for-1. Scourge Hydra, if you can destroy your own creatures, like with the Blight Witch or the Zithian Dreadmaw, you can trigger that when you play to destroy an opponent's creature. Soul Reap, if you have beasts, which the Spite Hydra is a beast, that also gets a buff if you have a destroyed creature when you play it. Spite Maiden, you can take some damage here to get a spell out for free. You don't have to, but you can. It definitely can help with the Darkheart Sorcerer on the board. Stout Demon, a good blocking body, not really that aggressive. And the Zithian Dreadmaw, you can use that to destroy a creature, pump it. It's a stealth creature. It can get big quick if you sacrifice a few creatures to it, so lots of potential strategies with that deck. I thought it was a neat one there. Okay, let's do this one next. We have a Drix Apocamancer deck here. It's one of my favorite archetypes, especially for a Loyan. And this one has a Rallying Scrapper with it, so it definitely is good. It's not a double rallying, unfortunately, but it's still a good deck on that alone. Steel Rosetta. Unfortunately, Tinker's not the level 2 ability, it's the level 4. But you have Enhance, Inspire, and Tinker. So Enhance, not a bad, if you're not getting Tinker there, Enhance is not a bad Forgeborn ability to have there. And then Inspire, you can use that depending on what you pair it with to line up something that is really useful for your deck. So I like that Steel Rosetta. Let's see here. Aegis Wings. So buff a creature, give it mobility. It's free there at level 3. Of course, Apocamancer. Bright Steel Gargoyle. Digitize. Drix. Epoch Soldier. Metasite. The Rallying Scrapper. War Machine. And Warmonger mod. So I don't know if I'm necessarily crazy about all the cards in the deck. I think if you find the right pair for it, you can make use of that deck there. I see a lot of the creatures, they at least seem like they're made to survive, more so than they are to punish the opponent. Bright Steel Gargoyle can get armor every other turn. You have the Epoch Soldier, which you could give it plus attack, but you could also give it plus health, depending on where you place it on the board, and depending on your situation. But yeah. Okay. So we have another Apocamancer Drix deck, and this one has a Palladium Pulse Mage, no rallying, but has some different cards with it that also make this deck intriguing. Of course, it has the Aetherforge Oracle, which I love as a card. We have Steel Rosetta with Repurpose, Inspire, and Enhance. I do not like this Forge one. I'm not big on Repurpose. It could have its uses, but I'm not big on it. That's all. So this deck also has Aegis Wings. We have the Aetherforge Oracle, which is nice, upgrading cards along the way. Decent body. Apocamancer, of course. Drix. Electronet can be a free play. Epoch Soldier, again in this deck. Lucid Echoes lets you upgrade cards and then deal damage to creatures. The Orion Battle Droid. Of course, the Palladium Pulse Mage. And War Machine. So again, this deck, similar but different than the last one. You can, when you have multiple options of a similar archetype, you can find another half deck that you might want to pair and figure out which one will work best with it. Or if you have multiples, maybe there's, you make multiple decks then. Okay. Let's do this one here. This one, it's a theme here tonight. So this one has a Betrayer Drix. It's the fifth, it's number 5. out of this was almost the 45,000 deck. But has Betrayer Drix, has a Dr. Frankenbaum, Grimgaunt Predator, and then has 5 spells. So it's certainly interesting. And then the Forgeborn, Dark Summoning, Soul Rip, and Raising Dead. Again, it's a Nyx. Not a fan. So the deck has a Camouflaged Moeba. So, nice stealth creature. The Dr. Frankenbaum. Really like this card. Dreadbolt. It's great removal. The Drix. Epidemic. Grave Pack. The Grimgaunt Predator. Another stealth body. You have Group Meal. Hollow Zith, you can make something stealth and give your spirits +6/+6. And Stout Spectre, also stealth. So, a lot of stealth bodies in this deck. You got a Drix in there. The Dr. Frankenbaum can be dangerous. So, I really thought this deck was interesting. I think it definitely could be made into something. I definitely like how many stealth bodies it has, and the Betrayer Drix really lets you explore some additional options with it as far as what you pair it with. Sticking on the Necrium theme here right now, here's our next deck. So this one here has a Dark Heart Sorcerer and a Camouflaged Shambler in it. It only has 3 spells and a host of other creatures. So let's go through that. Well, we'll do the Forgeborn first. But you have Soul Siphon, Life Drain, and Death Touch. So you have the Bone Scythe Reaver. You can remove enemy creatures. The Broodfang, if one of your creatures is destroyed, this can really weaken an opponent's creature. The Camouflage Shambler is nice. With stealth, they can't necessarily directly answer it, depending on when you play it. You might be able to get at least a couple turns out of it if they don't have any removal. The Commanding Reaper. So it gives your other zombies +6/+6, which helps with the Shambler. Dark Heart Sorcerer. Grave Pack. Necrotic Creeper. So if it gets destroyed, you get a minion in its place. Raging Walker. Soul Reap. And Zerath's Will. So, decent spell set. I think all the creatures, they all have some, you've got the Commanding Reaper to help with the zombies, pump them up. You have the Soul Reap with the Creeper there. So that, and the Broodfang is a beast as well. So either one of those will work with that. So you've got some synergistic cards there, but a Shambler and Dark Heart Sorcerer is always dangerous. Alright, let's change it up and go with Utera. So this deck was interesting to me. I don't have a good Swamp Moss Lurker deck. This one to me was interesting. It has double Soothing and a Spring Dryad. It does not have a Glowhive Siren, unfortunately, but it looks like it could be a decent deck. Don't know if it's going to be a world beater, but we'll see. Oros with Shapeshift, Barkskin, and Growth Aura. So It has Feral Instinct, which of course gives attack, armor, breakthrough, and if it does deal damage, you can play a card for free. So this can be big when you need to be able to push some damage through if your opponent's not necessarily expecting it. This right here can make somebody aggressive. That helps with in a variety of situations, whether you need to push some damage through or block a stealth creature, etc. Also pumps your dinosaurs. Relentless Wanderers helps with minion generation. Sated Raptor, if you can keep your health up, he can get a huge attack buff and be a threat they have to count for. The Soothing Keeper, of course, you gain life. You can also give your beasts plus 6 health. I'm not sure how many beasts are actually in the deck, though. Soothing Packmaster, of course, the health gain, and anytime one of your wars is dealt damage, they get a big attack boost. Spring Dryad, another way of gaining life, and if you keep your health up when you play the level 3, they can get a big attack buff. Stampeding Bear, so there's your beast that you can pump up. Of course, Stampeding Bear gets breakthrough, so another big threat. Summoning Council, you know, minion generation basically. Oak Fathers late in the game, that can be really powerful. And then of course Swamp Moss Lurker, first 2 levels can be free play potentially, and the level 3, if you keep your health up, can make him a big threat as well. And you can make him breakthrough with the Feral Instinct if you get that opportunity. So I think there's a lot of opportunities with this deck. It does look like it has a lot of creatures that can get big quick. I mean, I feel like there was at least 5 in that deck. So it's just a matter of if you can keep the health up, maybe pairing it with something that also can give you more health to keep it up. That could be really good. So I liked it. I thought it was decent. And as far as Swamp Moss Lurker decks go, that's probably one of my better ones just by looking at it. I don't think I have any great ones. So Tempest, we got a Disintegrating Omni deck. So of course it comes with Disintegrate. And then we have, it has Fit of Rage, Pyro-Song for the other spells. It has a Thundersoar, Scorchmane Dragon, Summoning Lasher, and a Uranti Elementalist. So some decent cards in there. Don't know exactly how they will pan out, but the Forgeborn is Sunder with Summon the Swarm, Gathering Storm, and Stimbolt. Not big on the Stimbolt, but the other 2 abilities are pretty neat. Stimbolt has its place, just cycle 4. It doesn't get any better from 2 to 4. It's the same, just play a spell for free. Could be better. So of course we have Disintegrate. So for Tempest, that's a decent removal card. We have the Disintegrating Omni, which can deal direct damage to the player. This can definitely make help with an aggressive strategy. We have Fit of Rage. You give a creature bonus attack, gets breakthrough. If you played another spell on the level 3, you give it to all your creatures. As you level it up, it gets additional creatures you can play it on, which can really help, especially when you get a guy like this down. Hibernating Worm, he is a huge attack creature, but no breakthrough. But if you do the Fit of Rage, he can get breakthrough. That can be huge. Pyro-Song can definitely be useful. All you gotta do is sometimes deal some damage to a creature to be able to get them off the board. Playing a Scorchmane Dragon first definitely could help with that. Does 5 damage to all creatures at the level 3. Level 2 does 5 damage to a creature of your choosing. Has mobility, of course. It's a very nice card. Stout Warhound. If this replaces a creature, it deals damage to a creature or player. So if you, depending on what you pair it with, or if you have something where you want to replace, you get bonus damage. You can wipe something off the board or deal direct damage to your opponent. Summoning Lasher gives you a minion plus deals some damage to a creature when you play it. So this can be a great 2-for-1 kind of card. Actually, really more. It's more like a 3-for-1, really, because you get the minion. You can deal 6 damage to something, and it can block or attack something, potentially kill multiple things, really. It could be a really good card. Thundersoar. Again, one of my top 10 favorite cards. Just love its mechanic. And the Uranti Elementalist lets you play spells for free, and the earlier versions require certain things to trigger that effect. But so I'd think about how to work with that deck. You can definitely use it. It's not a bad deck. Just don't know how aggressive it really is compared to other Omni decks I have, or if you should maybe take a different approach with it and just have the Omni as kind of a bonus type creature in there. So the last Necreum deck we have, is this one with a Darkheart Sorcerer. We have a Necrotic Shambler. We have a Betrayer Druid's Chant in there, you can see. We have a Dreadbolt and Varna's Pact. And then various other creatures. We'll look through that. Here's the Forgeborn. It's Circe. You have Soul Siphon, Death Touch, Army Commander. So it's not too bad. Not big on the Soul Siphon, but that can definitely save a creature when used at the right time. Darkheart Sorcerer, of course. Great card just on its own. Dreadbolt, one of the best removal cards in the game, if not the best. Druid's Chant. This pumps creatures and gives you health to level 3. If you have more than 30 health, you get an Oakfather minion as well. So it's a little boost. Nice bump there. Forsaken Banshee. So if it's unopposed, it gets a big buff to its stats, basically bringing it to what it should be for a level 3 creature, but also has its Slay ability. It was not called Slay in Alpha at this time. I don't know, I guess that was maybe made in set 2 when they changed that. But you have Laria, so the level 3 you can play a creature. The level 1 and 2 you play a level 1 creature. Drawing her at the wrong time, the early version, the level 1 and 2 version of her, can really hurt because if you have nothing to pull out, she's a really weak creature. The level 3, however, even if you draw on turn 1 of a cycle, if you play a creature that is level 1 or 2, you can then pull out its level 2 or 3 depending on what you had there. So you can still make use of it. Necrotic Shambler. Any Shambler is a good Shambler. Well, maybe not a Corrupt Shambler, I don't know. Even then, it's probably okay. Necrotic Slime. So I think, was that double necrotic? Yeah, the Shambler's necrotic, the Slime's necrotic, so you get minions to replace creatures, which can be a nice benefit. Spirit Reaver has its uses for sure. Varna's Pact, more minions, and you can reduce an enemy creature's attack and health for each minion you have in play. And then Venerable Geist. Not a bad card, not a great card, but so that deck, basically just because of the Shambler and the Darkheart Sorcerer, is a halfway decent deck that, if you find a good pair with, could make it semi-competitive. The last deck here is going to be an Aloyan, another Apocamancer Drix deck. I tell you what, it's one of my favorite archetypes. This one does not have rallying. It does not have a Pulse Mage, but it's Apocamancer Drix. So let's look at what else it has here with it. It's an Ironbeard. So you have shields up, knockback, and reinforce. The cards, the level 3 cards here, we have, of course, the Apocamancer, always dangerous. Camouflage Scrapper, so a stealth creature, and if it was to get weak and not destroyed, you could always replace it. And that creature will get some bonus attack. You, of course, have Drix, which is a great card to have with Apocamancer. We have Force Field. I love this card with an Apocamancer because you can save the Apocamancer and boost him. So not only if they tried to kill your Apocamancer with another creature, you can likely make him live with the boosted armor, and then you also boosted his attack to hopefully kill off whatever they played. And then the next turn, assuming that they were on Forge that turn, you're on Forge, your guy's stealth, and now you're pushing that damage through. And your Apocamancer is still on the board. It's a great card to have with it. Heavy Artillery, I like this one as well. This can shift attack, prevent them from potentially killing off your Drix or Apocamancer, and boosting another creature of yours. Protective Reinforcements. So it's a defender. Got good stats. It's got mobility. And when you play it, creatures adjacent to it get bonus health. So it's a good utility card, especially when people, if they don't have the direct removal for Drix and Apocamancer, they're definitely going to be trying to bring them down with creatures. Recycling Scavenger. So if it replaced a creature, it gets a big boost. This obviously works well with Apocamancer and Drix, especially if you put it on like a Mega Gizmo minion there. With the level 3 Drix out there, you're getting, this would give it plus 20. It's your very own mini Krogaius. It's bigger than Krogaius, but it doesn't have Krogaius' ability to not be destroyed by everything. Stout Drone. Tech Upgrade. And Venerable Inventor. So I like the cards in this deck. Like I said, it doesn't have Rallying, but it has a lot of other good stuff. It could definitely be used into something and made into an interesting deck. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.